We also need to be particularly watchful when criminal law is involved. Perhaps they are rare circumstances where we don't know exactly the numbers, but we need to recognise that when it does happen, and did happen in the case of Mr. Puddick, and when it's enforced by the police, and when liberty is lost and other consequences arise, we need to be ever watchful and mindful of the consequences and the serious repercussions, and how it does indeed maybe chip, maybe even take a chunk out of fundamental principles that we all hold dear. So, in conclusion, Madam Deputy Speaker, I must reiterate that the issue in this case is not the affair that some may have been interested in reporting on. It's not indeed about my constituents and the phone calls he made to the clients. It's not indeed concerning the man, and it's not concerning the affair at all. The issue is whether the case has been made by Ian Puddick that there is an influence of large companies, indeed in this case of private security firms, that has led to indeed a taxpayer-funded police force issuing what some would suggest was a taxpayer-funded crusade. Indeed, it was called an operation. It was Operation Bohan. I'm not quite sure it was Bohan, who's the son of Reuben, but it was called that. An operation was dedicated to this case, seemingly to silence the accusations that he made, because they may harm financial interests. One could argue if the complaint had been made to the City of London Police by an ordinary member of the public, say a plumber, like my constituent, I doubt that it's been estimated £1 million would have been spent investigating and prosecuting this case. It would, I imagine, have been dealt with as a civil matter, maybe if the police had been involved, worthy of a quiet word from them. I say an estimated amount of £1 million. Mr. Puddick himself has been asking questions to find out the true costs, and I'd be interested if it was possible to have an answer at some point, and I know it's not going to be available today, of in fact how much this police and prosecution did cost. It would seem, on the face of it, without any other further information, that Operation Bohan flew in the face of the key principle of equality before the law by seemingly putting the interests of wealthy organisations above the free speech and basic rights of the everyday citizen. I don't say those words lightly. I myself have been involved as a criminal solicitor for now 14 or so years, and have great respect for the rule of law, great respect for our system of justice and how it is properly applied day in, day out, indeed properly applied by police officers and prosecuting authorities. But when there are these cases which seem exceptional, which are totally exceptional, it would seem, in terms of the way power is applied, we need to stand up for our constituents. It is worse for everyone, not just my constituent, that it was a taxpayer-funded operation. My tax-paying constituents, all of them, paid their part for taxes for the anti-terrorist officers, for the high-technology laboratory and the extensive surveillance. Indeed, they also played a part for the Crown Prosecuting Service's seemingly doomed attempt to prosecute Mr. Puddick. What my constituent is concerned about is what he would say is an apparent perversion of natural justice that needs to be identified, it needs to be addressed, and it needs to be appropriately, I believe, challenged by ministers. The government, indeed, the Minister of Police, is rightly big on accountability, and I fully support that. What we need to recognise that actions of the police and prosecuting authorities also need to have accountability, and they need to be brought to account for these particular instances, such as the case of Mr. Puddick, so that we ensure that another innocent member of the public is not awoken by an armed counter-terrorism unit, acting perhaps out of the whims of wealth and power.
Nick Herbert.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. May I first of all congratulate my honourable friend for securing this debate, and it is a pleasure for me to be responding to it on behalf of the government. I know of my honourable friend's long-standing interest in these issues, and specifically to ensure that freedom of expression is protected. I fully understand the reasons why he seeks to raise the case of his constituent, Mr. Ian Puddick, and his concern about what happened to Mr. Puddick, and I appreciate that he seeks to put the case for his constituent very forcefully, which he certainly did. I want to start off by stating something which I know my honourable friend understands, but it is important to restate, which is that ministers do not have a role in commenting on specific cases or interfering in specific cases. We have a principle in this country of the operational independence of the police, and it is very important that ministers do not seek to direct police investigations or comment on them improperly. It is, however, very important also that we have a proper system of accountability of the police for the actions they take, of course to the law, but more widely, and I'll return to that later. So I'm afraid that I cannot, therefore, comment on the legal aspects of this individual case. But I understand that the City of London Police took the allegation of harassment against Mr. Puddick, the allegation that is, very seriously, and it was investigated in line with national procedures. I also understand that the City of London Police received a complaint last September relating to the conduct of officers involved in Mr. Puddick's arrest on suspicion of harassment in August 2009. However, following a thorough internal investigation, the Force's Professional Standards Directorate found that there was no misconduct. Mr. Puddick was informed of this decision last December and had the right to appeal to the IPCC, the Independent Police Complaints Commission. I do not know whether Mr. Puddick has pursued that course, but my honourable friend may wish to contact Mr. Puddick and help him in that regard, because we have a formal complaints procedure whereby the conduct of police forces can be properly investigated where there's a complaint, precisely to deal with situations where people feel that they have been improperly treated by the police. And by having the IPCC, that means that they can be independently investigated. The force can then be independently investigated, quite separate from government, and it's proper that it should be so. Now, there may be reasons why Mr. Puddick has not taken that course, but I'll give way to my honourable friend.
I'm grateful for the Minister for his response, and certainly I will follow up the details of his complaint. My presumption is that the progress of the complaint was probably subject to the fact that proceedings were ongoing which have only recently been concluded, and he'll now be able to pursue many avenues. I think the problem that he probably has encountered is that the complaint he has is not as usual complaints would be in terms of how there's treated in detention or in terms of on arrest, but more of a systemic issue of an operational decision that was made, which he may find harder to get to truth, but I'd invite the Minister to just make inquiries as why such an operational decision, to the point of Operational Bohan, was made, on this particular case, on the facts of that.